children! A few years ago, we took a look at James O'Barr's tale of revenge from beyond the grave, The Crow. But of course, Eric Draven was not the only soul that could not rest. Not the only one to make the wrong things right. Meet Iris Shaw, a conservation officer who recently had a run-in with some poachers. After they threatened her with retaliation for trying to stop them, she and the federal marshal are blown up by the terroristic poachers. What's more, Iris was pregnant, hadn't even had it long enough to decide whether she wanted to keep the baby. But when you destroy a person's life so suddenly, so egregiously, well, she's bound to be a little upset. She soothes some of that over by seeing the father of that unborn child one last time, getting some final satisfaction before she paints her face up and goes on the prowl. Foregoing the expected look of the Harlequin lines, she instead paints a black crow across her face and begins hunting her prey. But that's the thing about Iris. She's not just interested in revenge. She wants justice. For example, instead of killing her first murderer, she lets him lead her to another. She tells the man about another victim of the bomb, a kind, sweet, harmless, homeless woman who was crushed to death and buried under the rubble. So how appropriate then that Iris buries him alive. The Crow further explains about her unique situation. She cannot be hurt, but she doesn't heal either. As such, she has a limited amount of time to kill her enemies before she either rots away or is too badly damaged to do any good against them. When the government chases after her, they did blow up a government building after all. The feds were bound to get involved when a vigilante started to get into it. She sees herself reflected in one of their eyes, and she wonders what it is she has become. She loves the countryside, being away from the city, of being among her people on shared beliefs on self-reliance. But of course she realizes what they used to have in common in these areas. It's become a sickness to them, incurable and terminal, and she must put an end to that sickness. She hunts down the people responsible, a group of ranchers unhappy about the government seizing their land for local wildlife, who already defied them several times, and naturally goes to have a chat with them. Oh, but she can't be that dangerous, can she? After all, she's only flesh and blood, just like they are. She deals with them, forces them to kill each other at points, until finally she gets a name for the one who organized the whole thing. But hey, if they are so attached to the ground they want to keep, then perhaps they will enjoy being buried in it. She tracks down the final man, a family man at that, although he doesn't seem to be particularly kind to said family, and starts sniping at him. This forces the truth out from him to his family, who of course are aghast at his behavior. They wonder if they should be calling the feds now for help. But the funny thing is, of course, they finally got what they wanted, to be left alone by the government and have to deal with this problem themselves. Iris gives the family one night to contemplate their position, force him to call in as many reinforcements as he can. But she also delivers evidence to the sheriff about what he's been doing. Once she goes on the attack, the wife of the head honcho finally screams at him to take responsibility for what he's done, to surrender peacefully before he poisons their younger sons to be like him. The older ones are already too far gone. He goes along, although he's angry that his own family betrayed him. But of course, as she points out, he took away her future. So why should she allow him to have any more choice in this? She explains that the accomplices, this was for the others he killed. Separating him from his family, that was for her. But this final act, lighting both herself and him ablaze, that is for her flesh and blood. The Crow, Flesh and Blood, gives us a very interesting protagonist with their bird body, with motivations beyond simple revenge. Because sometimes revenge is not enough to make the dead quiet again.
Titan and your bron. Mix with me.